off in the first game. But Vivid, they have to do this now 9 more times to be able to make it into the finals tomorrow.
Going to be super, super tough for them. That being said, we were actually taking a look at some of the highlights there from just the groups that were kind of played, and we kind of saw it, right? Sal, kind of typical up on the high ground, very, very familiar with that type of position. I was actually talking with Jacob on our way over here today, and he was like, no, one of the teams that I did like, it was Sal. Sal was very, very common in finding some of the early game eliminations, Levin.
Yo, what's up, Jad?
With a
Hello.
game 1 win like that, they might get into that top 6.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, like you said, Kenny, started to pick things up towards the end. I'm not gonna lie, we've been here a couple of days now. Game 1, people do things in game 1. It happens, right? Of course, big them up, right? You want to give them their props. They deserve it because it was an impressive win, but you can't get ahead of yourselves.
What's up? Make sure anyone like and sub. Much
Well, listen, if we're talking about picking things up, though, Vivid, then we have to talk about Darm and Deemish as well.
देखते हैं भाई आज
Really
कौन सी
rough
teams
start
qualify
for them
करती हैं.
yesterday, and then, of course, I mean, we don't see the leaderboard just yet. Maybe I don't want to spoil things, but they're looking pretty good in our leaderboard right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Obviously, Kelly's kind of alluding to it right now. They didn't win the game, they got second place, but how many eliminations they were able to pick up, they are going to be sitting in first place. Now, I got to actually go ahead and pause this conversation entirely. Let's go ahead and take a look at the regional representation up here towards the top of the leaderboard. I mean, we got EU up there, Darm and Damage. We got Yassine and Salve representing the Middle Eastern region, Tomat and Mofo, and then you got Yuma and Koyota representing Asia, and Ghana and Knight from Brazil, and then Shadow and Virgo sneaking in for NAC as well. So game number 1, regional diversity towards the top of the leaderboard. This is exciting.
A lot of diversity there for now. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because it ended up happening yesterday. We saw a team perform really well yesterday in the first game, and if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the teams that actually ended up getting their keys crushed at the end. So we were going to be looking for that consistency after this match.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's obviously going to be good signs there, but one, still so much more to play. Like I said, they already strong. There's going to be a bunch, that changes throughout these games. People start to develop as far as under versus contested. Obviously, then we switch to Slurp Rush, and things get crazy over there, right? And so I think one of these teams find your footing, get some momentum, and just keep things rolling.
And I think that's where our bigger regions do end up coming out on top, is that their footing, they find stable footing a lot easier than our smaller regions. And so although it seems like almost even at FNCS's, it starts off with a lot of these smaller regions having good pop-off games, good eliminations, but then as things start to develop and the tournament continues on, that's when our bigger regions and our bigger teams do end up just kind of outplacing our smaller regions time and time again.
David, earlier we got a chance to see during the pre-show a chat with AGL, with Sky and Scroll, and they were saying they were wanting to be more aggressive after this game. They only end up getting just 2 eliminations, and they're currently sitting in 13th place.
Yeah, I mean, for Sky and Scroll, I did want to go ahead and hit home on that as well. Definitely not the game that they were probably looking for. And this is where it's going to start to matter, Levin, because you were kind of talking about it. The reason why they were probably feeling good about their performance yesterday is because, yeah, they didn't get like dead last. They weren't towards the bottom of the leaderboard. They performed pretty well. Then game number 1 of when it was a knockout stage and you don't too good, then I feel like those thoughts have to start to enter their minds.
Yeah, I think they have to become more aggressive, not just, from a pure, let's run around and get some eliminations, just from like a win condition standpoint, right? We know how the zones on this map can be with all the different elevation. You have to be more proactive about, we get to moving zones and like, okay, how are we actually going to win the game, right? Forget just trying to stay in the game as long as possible. What's the play that wins us this lobby?
And I'm really hoping they don't wait until Slurp Rush to kind of come out with that plan. That's what we saw yesterday, where they kind of struggled in Elite Stronghold. Hopefully they knew that kind of was their weak point, because Slurp Rush is when we actually started to see them step things up, the Sky and Scroll that we knew, but they just weren't able to climb up fast enough. So again, I don't want them to wait till Slurp Rush to be able to pull something out.
Back.
Something that I want to make sure that we all keep an eye on as well is how these lobbies are kind of playing out. If you remember, Group A, high ground pretty much seemed uncontested. If you went up for it, it looked like everybody kind of just gave it to you. I saw something very, very familiar that game, so keep a close eye on how some of these endgames are playing and what the win condition might be.
You just brought me flashbacks of Group A, especially because during Group A, it was nothing but Aurora just with the high ground, and then they decided to just switch it, and it ended up being the Falcons duos too, taking over the high ground. We'll see if that's going to be the case here for this group, which is none other than survival stage. Now, we're talking about AGL, we're talking about them being more aggressive, right, Levin? Where would you set the mark for them in regards to eliminations that you would be happy with their performance? For me,
ये हर जगह दफा ये होता है अच्छी बात है अच्छा बंदा है
I do want to see them get like a big game, like a big double-digit LM game. Not just because I think that's sustainable and they're going to keep doing it, I think it just is a sign of intent, right? About how they feel they stack up against this lobby. Like, nah, you lot are scrubs to us, man. We can do this. And I think they have that ability, even if it isn't their typical bag. They like to play a bit slower pace, more efficient. I think they can do that in one of these games.
And in these kind of tournaments with how valuable eliminations are, you have to
बुगे को करना चाहिए यार ये फाइनल में होना चाहिए बुगा को मोस्ट आईक्यू प्लेयर है भाई वो जेन्युइन बात है बहुत ग्राइंड करता है वो गेम्स
It just wasn't enough, but you're only asked to get so many eliminations when clearly their main plan isn't working out to go on the aggressive. Either that's early game where maybe they send one player out to where they know that there's a highly contested spot.
पर कल तो बड़ा काम खराब है भाई
Because as soon as you see that one of them is alone, that means that the other is as well.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to adjust to whatever the lobby ends up giving them. I know they were coming in confident, they were wanting to be aggressive. I want to see that aggression. By the way, for everybody that's been tuning into EWC and just watching Fortnite Reload Championship at EWC 26, if you're not familiar with everything that's going on with the keys and all that stuff,
26
got you covered.
As we commence the survival stage at the Fortnite Reload Championship, we thought that we would set the stakes. 14 teams will have their keys crushed by the end of the day. But what does that truly mean? We're going to talk about the keys, the total, and of course, the crusher. First off, let's talk about the keys. If you qualify for the Esports World Cup, your team is given a key. That is essentially your lifeblood at the Esports World Cup. And that is what our teams are coveting this entire time.
And where do those keys end up? Well, of course, they end up in the totem. For those whose keys are crushed, they live in the graveyard.
कितनी keys destroy हुई हैं
Success. The key frame is then removed from their key and placed in the totem to immortalize them in the history books of the Esports World Cup. $30 million on the line. Every win in every title is vital for these clubs.
That is a lot of money, but the fun part is when our players get to crush the keys.
That's right, Barney, because here at the Qiddiya City Grid, we have the most menacing key crusher on the block.
That is true. This brings us to the drama of our competition because our keys literally balance on the precipice of success and total annihilation.
It's a unique twist here at EWC for us, unlike any other competition.
That is very true. So remember, only 6 of these keys will stay unscathed and join into the finals. So stick around to see it in action. And with that being said, casters, over to you for map number 2.
That's one of the best things, one of the best feelings for the person pressing that button, but not a few games on that topic that we've seen. They're also unique engraved, so it really is a personal touch.
Yeah, it is, but today, 14 of those keys are going to be crushed. It's brutal, it's horrible.
Feed the beast.
I know, it's crazy. 6 of them have been crushed so far, of course, across Group A and B. 6 of those keys will remain intact ahead of tomorrow's grand finals. Of course, which of those keys, which of those teams is that going to be? And so far, for a team like Izzy and Nosif, they'll be wanting to be in that top 6. They'll be hoping that their team and their key is going to be finding themselves in the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, surely. I mean, you see the lobby already starting to take shape here. With our top 6 currently, we have a nice little spread of international coverage. We talked about it. I think everyone more or less expecting. We're performing up to expectations, minus Sky and Scroll for AG8L. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on their story, on their drop in particular here throughout the evening to see how exactly they manage to
मैं आया चैट सुना
is now here, match 2
थोड़ी देर में
up. The Esports World Cup.
ओ भाई
Oh my goodness.
This is more
Khoda.
players than we have seen in any other stage, setting, or game in a singular drop.
There's half the lobby. Who isn't here at this point? This is unbelievable. I mean, obviously a lot of the solos are going to be landing at their regular drop spot. Retro down, Spooks down, Yapko alive. Just thinning out this entire little drop spot right here. Lots of those teams will just be
कितने बंदे आए मर रहे हैं
solo dropping there and then trying to get over towards their teammate again. I think that just sort of shows how those first game nerves, those first game jitters just sort of are out of the way, especially for a team like Yapko and Panzer. 4 limbs already onto Yapko. Can he make it 5?
So Mat and Mofu end up
नाइस
coming
भाईजान
up
बहुत ज़्यादा
as the last man standing here. I was glancing around, making sure that was accurate. He is the only one left outside the hostile hold there. Well played for him.
स्क्रॉल आ गया
Not bad
Nice.
either. 2 elims there to go and continue to pad his lead. He's in 3rd place. So look with Sky and Stroll up against JoJo Fishy, EWC. It's a 2v1, but still Stroll giving EWC a run for his money for a second there, but they're there. There's the little dance from EWC's side. JoJo Fishy's cold as ever.
बदतमीजी बड़े करते हैं ब्रेड.
Participants for JoJo and EWC Fishy. Again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. I'm proud that they've made it this far, but this is just a sample of what it's going to take if you want to be an elite performer.
Well, even yesterday when they won that last game to claw their way out of the bottom three, there wasn't much emotion. I think they have higher expectations of themselves than that. They'll be expecting to find themselves in that top six. Again, another team that are. Sky and Scroll already taken down a couple of times right here. Nosif and Izzy are the latest culprits of that. And big cheer, of course, again when they come on the screen. They'll be hoping for a bigger cheer towards the end of this game, though. And they're a team that can do it. I spoke about it earlier. They have these clutch moments. Seems like they can always do it in the moments where it matters most. And I'd say 90% of the crowd here want to see that.
Yeah, most definitely. Jumping over with Goofy and Zuga. Actually take down Yuma there. Koyota still up. You can see in the distance. Sky just kind of keeping an eye out on this same exact drop. They hear players nearby sort of camping the loot that's available here in the machine there below. Goofy and Z-Dog are on the hunt. Meanwhile, Braids and Bugha, terrible spot to be in when you have a full duo fighting you guys head-to-head like this. This can be a full elimination and likely even send them out of the game. Bugha's going to lose his ones. Braids has to stay alive now. The clock is ticking. Faded, although super healthy, still hasn't quite managed to finish the deal here.
Braids staying alive for now. Is Bugha going to be able to get back in? He is. Just about stayed alive long enough. Braids taken out by Khan and Faded. Remember, they had a really good start to that end game, looking really strong, and then it all kind of fell apart as those zones didn't pull in their favor. So they'll be hoping for a little bit more luck in this game. But showing the confidence early on, going for height. Of course, the Mythic helps, or the Exotic helps. Tomat in a bit of a battle here against Yapko. And, again, Tomat Mofu, a team that also clawed their way out of that bottom three earlier on in the week. It's a big day for them as well. They don't want to just stay in the competition for the survival stage. They want to make it to tomorrow as well.
This is tough. Bugha opting to hide while he sends Braids away here, but Khan and Faded are on his heels. And they get that elimination, and you saw Bugha there only had an AR, opting to send Braids with everything, hopefully in efforts to go ahead and get things situated there inside the storm, but nothing just yet. Sky Scroll on the other side, looking much better. Again, they were also eliminated. You can see the loadout, not exactly the best, but plenty of time here in the game as, of course, these drops and chests continue to load back in.
This though, Salvatore, after such a strong game one, only down to about 1 HP right now, going into the storm, dipping in, dipping out as well. Shadow and Virgo are not going to let him get away anytime soon. Nice angles, nice piece, nice control. A nice elim from Shadow and Virgo. A little bit of a cheer as well here from the M8 fans in the arena. And Phoenix and Retro, this is the team that in Heat 1 or in Group 1, Group A, they came out of the gates really strong. They got that, I think it was Game 2, Game 3 victory royale. They were looking strong and then ended up finding themselves here.
Sorry, Jacob had a lot to say about this NOS duo being able to start performing and kind of have their moment, but it's hard to keep that pace up. Like you said, once all, you know, the other teams start to warm up and the jitters kind of go out the, out the way, they tend to take off. You saw that particularly even yesterday with players like Victor V and Kanata, for example, started off so slow and then towards the end finally caught their groove. Same thing with Sky and Scroll. Yeah. Extremely slow, picked up towards the end. Gotta be fast, gotta play smart. Jacko Panzer, again, a lot to live up for, as yesterday was such a letdown for them on their overall performance. Saw Jacko and Panzer, we were coming through the metal detectors to kick off the day. They looked at us right in the eye and said, no, we're ready for today.
Yeah. It was weird, wasn't it? Because they didn't start the day very well. They had a really good middle. You thought, we're back to normal here for Yapko fans. We're back to the level that we expect from them. And at the end of the day, they went missing. It's like they need to try and turn those middle games like we saw yesterday into and stretch it out into the entire rest of the day.
Big team being eliminated here. Toma and Mofu in third place. Already taken down. They had 60 points earned. And now they're the first duo to fall. That's a big problem, especially, again, when you have your opportunity, right? They're kind of coming in with the momentum where they left off.
I was expecting more from Sky and Scroll in that last game. I mean, obviously placement-wise, but they came into the day saying they want to get a lot more aggressive. They want to take the lobby on. They want to try and show why they're one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world right now. And they got 2 elims, and it came later on in the game. I was quite surprised that they weren't as happy to fight earlier on. I think this game is kind of, they flipped it a little bit, but I expected them to really go properly aggressive like we've seen from some of our other teams, because they're capable. I think they need to sort of remind themselves that. Maybe it is that sort of first game. They want to have a decent start and give themselves a bit of a sort of launch pad to kick off the rest of the day with. But this is the sort of gameplay we want to see from them, getting really confident off-spawn fights, because they are a better fighting duo than pretty much everyone else in the lobby, or maybe just definitely everyone else, really.
Yeah, and you know what? You can take the risk. You can take so much more risk in this type of format. And I think they're trying to find how far they can really push it. How much risk can they actually apply here on the lobby? VSN, Salvatore, and Yasin already on the move there. You can see them kind of leading the way, going for the large dead side, rotate around the outskirts. Meanwhile, Gon and Knight already found themselves at the hostile hold, trying to hold teams from the outside from entering in freely. There's a good amount of the lobby still outside in the storm here. They've got to get moving, though. Mammoth pistol in hand. You know, it's a surprising how many teams are not using the Mammoth pistol, where Peterbot and Bugha, for example, were running it every single game. So there really is a preference in the playstyles here. And the way teams kind of build their dynamic for reload.
Yeah, and a lot of times the teams will be using them without a spray weapon as well. You have Mammoth pistol, shotgun, that'll be the loadout. And to be able to play that style of gameplay, you have to be really confident in those shotgun hits. You have to be really confident in those box fights. You have to be really confident of playing height as well, and being able to hit those shots and make that infantry slot being taken up by the Mammoth actually worth it. So, you know, when you name Peterbot, of course it's worth it, right? But for some of our other teams, maybe that isn't the case. That's why we see Spooks right here with that combat SMG instead. And big day for Oatly and Spooks as well. I think, you know, they really came out of the gates really strongly in their first LAN performance, and they have a lot to answer for here today as well. They've got now expectations of doing good on their shoulders, and maybe sometimes, I suppose, if you go into a LAN without any expectations, it can definitely help.
Yeah, I think win or lose, you know, they surprised everyone with how well of a performance they had just yesterday, to be honest. Of course, this is what's going to define whether or not you can move on to the finals here. Coyote's going to find Panzer. All right, this becomes a time and place where you start falling here will be major setbacks, given that the reboots are going to be shutting off here shortly. Again, just 3 elims here for Sky and Scroll, the fastest start that they've had, I think, throughout the entirety of all of their games, even yesterday's included.
Yeah.
So definitely off to the proper start, but it's now doing the part that they did really great yesterday.
Well, that's the thing. This is back to normal for them now, right? This is what they're used to. They're getting themselves in a nice position. They can play the end game like they know how to do. It's getting to this position in a solid state in terms of loadout, in terms of limbs, in terms of positioning, between what they haven't been as confident at. So for now, this is just normal Battle Royale. Of course, once those reboots do end, it's just going to be normal Battle Royale. This is where you'd expect them to thrive. So you can definitely see them set up for success right here as we get a look at the map. Very north pulling zone. And I'm going to call it right here. Sky Scroll win this game.
Oh, early predictions coming out of Mini Minor right now. Might know something we don't just yet. Spooks, Oatly kind of made their way in, migrated through, putting pressure here on other teams just to stay active, stay warm. Yuma, Coyote, one of the options there in the distance. Nosif already rotating around the outskirts. But all these cliff faces here, giving them a bit of a hard time to actually find kind of lineups here. You have an idea that there's a team there, but Again, don't really quite have all the information they need. And here it is, you fall now. If you're one of the ones under gunfire here, that's it. Reboots are officially being disabled. EWC is going to be one of the ones to get knocked there initially. Rue as well. There's the finish for Rue. There's the finish for EWC, and now he's completely eliminated here. So a decent start to game one, but their story comes to an end for Sky and Scroll. Front side of zone, already looking to go for high ground potentially here.
Remember, their win came from high when they played it early, so maybe they'll be looking at it. It's not their typical way of playing, but maybe we'll see them go for it again. Like I said earlier, there's not that height-dominant team in the lobby. You don't have those powerhouses that have already, of course, qualified through. So if any time to take it, it is probably now. Goofy Z-Dog, another team that played really well in the groups, unfortunately find themselves here, and unfortunately in this game find themselves down and out. Darm and Deemish in a nice position right now. They're going to use that fizz. They're going to use as well.
Yo, Chab, me back. What's up?
And get towards that dead side of zone. Yuma and Koyota find themselves in a tough position here as well on that left side of the screen. They're going to get looked at by so many others, but maybe the saving grace for them is going to be this launch pad. They're going to see right ahead of them players like Salvatore Yassin, players like Deemish and Darm have made it in, and there they are. Yuma and high ground position.
That was extremely lucky, by the way, because they were getting targeted when Z-Dog and Goofy fell, and little did they know they were so lit up. Yeah. Being able to bounce back, take a little bit of high ground here off the launch pad. I mean, they might turn this entire game around here. Surely the extra points are going to be welcomed as well. Top 16 now, Salvatore Yassin have to make a move. Demis and Darm here on the outskirts, try to go for the wide rotate, but get spotted out, so this is not going to be safe by any means. Up and back they go. Saying, they know we're there. Let's just go right through the middle instead.
Darm Deemish, way of the backside of zone. Failed shockwave, failed overdrive there for Deemish. And again, twice in a row. That's unfortunate. That's where I made their way in now on the dead side of zone. Sky and Scroll all the way towards the front side as well. Lots of investment here into these overdrives, not only just because of the couple of failed ones earlier, but also now having to get them both towards that front side. Max pull for them. Bugha and Braids, I've said it all week, they've put themselves in good positions. They haven't been able to close out wins, which remember is what you need to do when it comes to tomorrow's Grand. So again, they're in a decent position. They're playing these mid-ground layers really nicely. And naturally, when your name's Bugha, there's always expectation on your shoulders.
Yeah, we were talking about how Knight and Golden actually had several victory royales. That is going to be a part of the formula if you want to win this tournament here today. Just in general over the weekend, Virgo and Shadow looking good. Oatly and Spooks take high ground from Yuma and Koyota. So now, here's their chance to kind of make a return on the standings. Meanwhile, back down to low ground. Gentlemane's Virgo on the move. He's got sight lines. Had he landed that shot, that could have been a game changer for the Jogo boys on height. But nothing just yet. There's the material drop for Shadow. Shadow's got to take the lead here as the IBAN duo. Meanwhile, Bugha front side of zone as well. Another moment and another opportunity to kind of prove themselves. Yuma's going to fall into the hands of Retro, though, during the chaos in the rotate there. It's not even looking good for Yassin either. Voko cringed down and out.
Okay.
Background still under full control for Oatly and Spooks.
Oatly looking to prove why people call him Goatly in this position right now. They need to try to win. They need to try and make the most of this high ground position. Izzy and Nosif on the complete other side of things down on low. The French fans right here, they're getting active, they're getting excited about the potential for a great game here from Izzy and Nosif. God and Knight find one in the backside of zone as well. That's going to be a crucial refresh for those guys as they were running a little bit low on materials as well. You see Knight investing all of those, getting towards that front side, but oh no, Oatly and Spooks are getting contested. It's Edson, it's PH Wow, what a shot from Oatly. That shuts down one. PH Sin down as well. That's to the hands of Spooks. And not only are they on height, but they're holding onto it very well.
Well, there you have it. 5 eliminations as well. Things are really starting to add up here, and this is the type of game you need. This is the type of run you have to put yourself on because they started off so unfortunately behind. Virgo, Shadow on the other side, still not quite earning any eliminations, but the points are adding up. Same story can be said here for Bugha and Braids. whom have been just working their way through the mid-ground layer. Meanwhile, Khan and Faded take the fight onto Oatly as well. They were able to successfully defend against one, but not the second force that came through. Bugha finishes up Spooks, and now no one's really in control of high ground other than Khan here, who's going to be the last surviving.
No one's on control of low ground either. Bugha spots that out, goes straight on down below. That's a really nice position for him, but of course the zone is going to keep pulling over this hill. Not ideal at all. Look at this though, Gone and Knight all the way up on top. They are looking to close out this game with a win. Unfortunately for Bugha, he's now down as a solo as Braids gets taken out. Khan and Faded here as well. Now looking to try and make their way up as well. They want height again, but Gone says no. Faded, you're gone. Faded shut down. Sky and Scroll, where they do it best, where they operate on top. 4 elims for Sky Scroll. They've got control of the low ground. They've got control of the lobby.
AGAL still in the game right now with a huge performance so far. Points are starting to add up. Don't forget, Night and Ghost still had that rocket launcher with a couple of missiles left. Here it is. They wait until the very end to start using these critical missiles. Down they send Darman Demas. I think they recognize that team's going to go down. There's the focus on Sky. Oh, and that one cracks through. That's some big damage, but Scroll with the side angle takes down Knight, and that is how you do it. That is how you turn things around.
Sky now take the height. They need to do it for themselves. They need to do it for AGAL. They're in the prime position, 2v1 against Khan, who's trying to heal off as much as possible inside of the storm. But it's not going to matter as Khan hits a huge shot. Scroll is there to defend, and the boys are back. AGAL win game 2.
And the crowd is on their feet right now.
As
the victory just went through, you see the red and white. AGAL fans are proud here. What a win for Sky and Scroll. You know what? It was not looking good. Brazil boys hit that rocket launcher down on the side and catch Sky, but it's Scroll who turns it around.
Well, that's what makes this duo so good, is that they've got the same brain. You can see the coach being really happy right there. I thought it was Scroll's twin brother yesterday. It's not. It's actually their coach. That's what this team do best. They're almost on the same wavelength every single time. Sky got cracked, chunked a lot of damage. Scroll was there to immediately fight back. And for this team, that is exactly what they do best. Playing those low ground layers. I don't want to say I told you so, but early on in that end game, they were looking really strong. And this is the position they always find themselves in.
I'll say it for you. You definitely told me they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
You called it early as well. Take a look at that one more time from their perspective. Sky and Scroll take the victory with 7 eliminations. Not a light game by any means.
Nice, brilliant.
Winners. And you know what? Now they're in the race.
But अच्छी गेम ने कर ली है यार लोटो ने.
Yeah, they woken. I mean, I think in that game, right?
हो इनको क्वालिफाई करना चाहिए भाई. कल तो भाई देखो कौन डोमिनेट करता लॉबी. कल 3 बड़े डुबो बंदे हैं.
They know better than everyone that these guys are the real deal. You know, they know what they're like off camera. They know what they're like outside of the game as well. We know how good they can be when it comes to actual in-game performances. But they're just good lads as well, you know, and they have that chemistry that's super duper important. And that's helping them through that game right there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that, guys, take some time here. Grab yourself a big pop, maybe a mini shield. When we get back, we'll have more action.
Everyone is playing, you're not yet. EWC Play is your all-in-one platform to compete in fantasy, pick'em, and quests for a grand total of $300,000 in prize pool. Build your dream fantasy team in 5 different games and track your score with live results tables. Predict the winner of every game, every group stage, and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
Player eliminated.
Sorry about that. Just wait 30 seconds until I can come back.
Fine, I'll wait.
Alright, I'm almost back. Thanks so much for waiting for me. Whoa, this is so cool. Wait a minute. If you're here, then that means...
Team eliminated.
AGAL fans, you gotta make some noise. Sky and Scroll got a massive victory.
Make some noise.
This is huge for those club championship points, right?
No, it's definitely huge. It's not only huge for the club championship, but them themselves. They're the reigning, defending EU major champions, and they came out yesterday flat. Like you left a bottle of soda open overnight. It was flat. But these guys do not make the same mistakes twice.
It's so good. Look, they're just right here. What's up, Sky, Scroll? Good to see you guys. I love seeing them super locked in as well. Oh man, I love that you said that though, because we've had, you know, we think back to Summon, we had that kind of crazy performance. We thought, expected them to win, just missed out. But now here at LAN, they have really learned from that mistakes, right? Those little things they really needed to improve on, they have.
Yeah, they definitely have. And like I said yesterday, it was just slow to start. Today, they're just punching right out of the gates. They get a victory royale here in game number 2, putting them towards the top of the leaderboard. And you got to imagine how that feels for the club championship as well.
Oh man, AGAL's thinking, yes, keep doing that. We need to make sure we need to make it to finals. Another duo though, Shadow and Virgo just on the way across here. Obviously representing NA, we have to hope for them. I know Vivid absolutely loves them. How are you feeling about them?
I feel confident. I feel so confident for them. Coming into this during the qualifiers, they weren't the most aggressive team. They got here through clean, consistent gameplay. Yesterday, I feel like maybe they were trying to do a little bit too much. Today, I feel like they're locked in, ready to go back to their game plan.
For me, it's always going to be the stand-up moment of Shadow Virgo, and at Summit, they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to go ahead and call our shot. We need a VR right here, right now. They're capable of this kind of high-level play whenever they need to call on it. But remember, Jacob, we need to make top 6, right? We need to make sure we can make it through to tomorrow's finals. Do you think that they can do that top 6 right now under this pressure, under these lights?
Yeah, I think they and everybody else needs to kind of realize one thing. It's 10 games. It's a marathon. It's not a race. If you expect to play perfect, you're going to be kind of headed for disappointment. So you got to be able to roll with the punches, expect things to happen that you might not necessarily plan for, and then kind of go from there. And I think Shadow, Virgo, even Sky and Scroll have been doing that perfectly today.
And how are you feeling about the map rotations, right? We've got Elite Stronghold, we've got Slurp Rush. Some teams seem to operate a lot better on one versus the other. Obviously, right now we're kind of starting things off. Do you feel like some teams are maybe going to look to pick up in that second half?
Yeah, I honestly think that's a great addition to the reload type format because you can have teams, like you said, are good on one map. Imagine if your bad map was Elite Stronghold. Now in your mind, you're probably realizing, hey, I just need to keep it in contention of the top side of the leaderboard so that when you would go to your good map, you can fire off on all cylinders.
Just stay strong, right? That's all it's about. With that being said, we want more games, so let's kick it back up to the casters.
Thank you so much to our boys, Zeke and Jacob, holding down the fort there while we were getting hydrated up top. And also, special shout-outs to Virgo and Shadow. That was one of my favorite pieces to do. The little fun bits, man. That's what this is all about. Let's take a look at the rankings, though, here. Where are we standing as things are wrapping up? Dorm and Demis jump up into first place. It's Khan and Faded who are holding down second. Yasin and Salvatore.
Hello, what's up? Make sure everyone like and sub. मैं बस अभी आ रहा हूँ 2 मिनटों में पानी की बोतल लेके.
Yeah, great game for them, playing high, nicely done from those guys. Cringe and Volko unfortunately find themselves in that bottom 3. I spoke to them at the beginning of the day as we were coming on in here, and they said we're definitely winning a game, guarantee, today. So do with that what you will. We're about to get into match number 3 right here. Every single game counts for this qualification into that top 6. Every single game matters for this game.
With Knight and Gone coming in second, that jumps them up to 4th place. Sky and Scroll now, after that Victory Royale, are in 5th. So the standings really are starting to take a crunch towards the top. Then you still have Shadow and Virgo. Had the tournament ended there, that would be your top 6. Well,
yo, me back. What's up?
It's not over. It's only getting started. The first elimination is going to go to Gone, who gets his.
Guys, what do you think? Who will we qualify today?
Meanwhile, already has 2 elims as well himself. Another hot start.
What do you think, guys?
Nice job for Eoxy. A little snipe elim there too. Gone's getting active. This is a 3-on-3. Both sides, no shields. This is a fair fight if I've ever seen one. Brazil versus NA. Come on, Eoxy.
Me and Ooh.
Hit get the shot that matters.
ऊपर क्या करने गया? Jump नहीं करना चाहिए था उसको.
Spawn skirmishes where there's just like 18 different players here going out head to head. It's fantastic. Really good for points as well as Virgo there finds his first in this complete utter chaos. Gon managed to get 4. So unfortunately for Vazen and Anon, they are the first duo to be eliminated completely from this game as well. Not an ideal start for them.
घाटा हो गया ये.
Smile on his face as well with such a strong performance.
Oh भाई.
It's a nice way to start it. Abisheey and Aoxy have been double eliminated by Sky and Scroll, just catching Jojo off guard, and then they dance. I think they recognize what just happened in the feed there. GG's for them.
खतरनाक भाईजान, खतरनाक गेम चल रही है.
They're just mixing it up. First they were dropping in the mix.
बुगा को चीज करना चाहिए. बुगा, स्काई स्क्रॉल और सिल्वाटोर भी कर जाए यार. सिल्वाटोर जिनको नहीं पता, मिडिल ईस्ट से अरबी है वो, जो मिडिल ईस्ट से हुआ है. 2 क्वालिफाई हुए हैं.
They could definitely hold down the fort in that melting pot, but can't. Second place for them in the last game. Spooks and Oatley want to make good as well after their unfortunate demise in that last game. They look really good actually going on high in that game. They were looking strong. But of course in this sort of meta when there's RPGs, you've got shots, you've got launch pads. I saw a shockwave hammer earlier as well, a mythic version of that. So
Oatley भी है भाई. Oatley को भी जाना चाहिए यार.
In their arsenal.
I wish.
Makes it very, very difficult to hold on to high. Even Bugha right here.
But of course, पहला land बनता है तो यार.
Again, I feel like
wish you the
Bugha
best for Oatley
today. You know, it shouldn't be a crazy prediction, but the way that they're putting themselves in really good positions in endgame, the way that they're playing these endgames so consistently, they don't look phased by the pressure of this lobby. And again, it shouldn't be a crazy prediction, but with the way that these guys have been playing, they should pull.
Yeah, Bugha's doing just fine so far in the tournament. 75 points total earned. In case you were wondering, that is an accurate count. That puts him in 7th place, still trailing by 21 points behind Virgo and Shadow, whom again have already earned points here. I know in the replay you saw taken out there in the STC highlight, but Panzer Jack on the other side. Every
Panzer or
Jacob,
Jaco नाम है.
They look miserable. It's been tough on them so far as they've really not performed up to their own expectations. Only Panzer actually spots 99. Was quick on the draw there, doesn't wait for his own teammate. We'll see how that fight ends up going out. We'll keep an eye on the feed. Salvatore and Yasuno, quick updates. Looking all right.
Looking fine. Yep, good start to the day from them, of course. First game victory royale is going to give them that boost at the beginning of the day. And the analysts were sort of speaking about it after that game. One game cannot be the be-all and end-all. You can't lose the momentum. You can't lose sight of the format of the competition.
Game निकाल लेनी चाहिए इनको सिल्वाटोर को.
That's going to be the most important.
पिछली game AG जीती है भाई, जिन लोगों को नहीं पता था.
Just maintaining, having a couple of wins maybe is going to be all you need, and then some decent end games to go alongside it. Same with Gon and Knight, finding themselves in good positions in end game, going for crazy plays on height as well. They're taking risks, they're taking control, which is exactly what you need to do in these lobbies.
Furia boys looking well. ORC's Nosif and Izzy looking strong too. Little pop from the crowd here, of course. Whenever Izzy and Nosif are on show. Zone kind of coming dead center here. It's going to fare favorably for everyone for the most part. All the other games we've had, everyone's pretty much had their kind of pick of whether or not they wanted to stay deep in the storm. I think this one's going to play a little differently. I'm excited to see something a little more dynamic from the few. Teams already eliminated, though, to keep y'all up to date. Vazen and Anon, Aoxy and Jojo Fishy, the first two to fall. It's not very common that teams will fall in these types of formats either. But hey, sometimes you draw the short stick.
Yeah, it's difficult. But again, like
ये बेचारे की तो किस्मत ही बड़ी खराब जा रही है. इकट्ठे ही मरते हैं जो तो भी मरे ने.
If you have a bad game, you've still got plenty more to go, and a completely new map as well halfway through. So for those guys to continue to keep the vibes high is going to be really important. And I'm really intrigued to how it's playing out in general, because remember the last couple of days we've had the bottom 3 getting eliminated, right? Now we've got 14 teams being eliminated. So the latter stage of competition today, what sort of strats people are going to start pulling out, I do not know. Because you could be, I mean, if you're dead last or you're way down there, you might as well go for some crazy plays that we haven't gotten to see yet. Because realistically, previously, making those plays could have found you in that bottom 3 as well. So it is a lot more opportunity for risk today.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see kind of performances like what Faded and Connor are doing, where you land and you get those 4 elims and you really set yourself up.
Yeah.
With some good head starts. And, you know, everyone realistically needs to play with urgency all throughout the tournament. You cannot ease up.
So Sky and Scroll get possibly the worst supply drop you could probably get, right? There's a green loot everywhere. It's terrible. In a good position, though, again. This is the sort of team that you put them in that position after 7th zone, get on low ground like they did in that last game. They're just levels above the rest of the lobby. And they just didn't show that yesterday. We didn't get to see the Sky and Scroll that we were used to. In that last game, it felt like I was watching a traditional Battle Royale game from EU. It just felt normal. It felt like the world was at peace when that was happening. Yesterday was the complete opposite.
Yeah, we heard it from them. They said it themselves. Hey, look, we gave a lot of respect to lobby. It was a difficult... They said it was a difficult, like, games, difficult lobby. I don't know, you know, again, European, little bit of a language barrier. Not sure if they meant that more so, like, difficult as in we were in our heads and we didn't really play the way we should have. We gave too much respect. Or it was literally hard, harder than we expected, and we just couldn't perform.
Can you imagine Peterbot ever saying that?
Right. You would never hear it
the
that
lobby was
way.
really hard. Like, it just...
Well,
they gave him too much respect.
Maybe if he had to translate it into another language, right? That's my point, is like, maybe it just came across that way, but the way it came across, again, in English, not their native language, it was like, hey, the lobby was very hard.
Maybe. I just don't think they gave themselves enough respect and gave everyone else far too much respect. You don't see teams like Peterbot and Poyo, Shark and TD giving the rest of the lobby respect. You saw them keying everyone, you saw them going for anyone and everyone off spawn and then just closing out fights really well.
Yeah, speaking of which, that FN competitive account put up a little interview. It's like, hey, when you hear a team that's better than you, tell us. It's like, no, Peterbot, Poyo,
it was the
dead
quietest
silent,
video I've ever watched.
They rattled off the 3 strong teams I've never heard of. Didn't even budge. That's the level of confidence that they bring to the table. But let's get back into survival stage mode here. Panzer already on the move. Again, much more on the line here for Team GK. It's all about club championship points and much and more. T1's Demis and Darm currently leading the competition. If you glance over to the leaderboard there on the right, you can see S8UL Faded up towards the top, and then page 2, Virgo Shadow holding down the bar, which is currently 96 points.
Bugha 7th number पे है.
96 points. Bugha brings below them at 21. I'd say any given time,
Nice,
at any given time, if you are about 30 points ahead of your immediate competition, you have some buffer.
Yeah.
So Virgo and Shadow are kind of getting there. They're kind of getting to that point to where they're getting to that breakaway section.
Yeah, and we haven't seen like many teams really solidify their spot, whether it was top 7 in the groups or of course now top 6 here today. We haven't seen a team that's just making that top 7, that qualification completely out of reach. So it'll be interesting to see if the difference in the lobby, whether between the top teams and the bottom teams, is as stark today, we've seen previously, where it is really close on that border. Zone pulls back towards that southeast though. Lots of our teams already find themselves in that position. Going to make things really difficult for those teams. Those red arrows, those white arrows at the very top, you can see, because they're all set up, positioned, based up on top of a hill. So be interested to see what those sort of rotations are going to look like when they make it in.
Yeah, good few of them kind of holding down those super launch pads. The team to the north already flying in pretty quickly here. But there you have it. The zone's already revealed, so Reboot is now officially on a timer. Just a minute left roughly before this closes. Izzy, Nosif, fans in the crowd once again. Nice little pop. Great noise coming through for Nosif and Izzy. Holding things down here.
I think the important thing for them is just staying in contention all day. They're not the sort of team that we would expect to win the whole day, but just staying in contention, keeping that crowd on your side, keeping them excited when you appear on screen. I don't know, you can sort of feel the energy. Obviously the players have those sort of noise cancelling over-ear headphones, so in theory they shouldn't be able to hear it, but I feel like that energy just radiates. They know that they are the fan favorites here in Paris, so keeping themselves in contention is going to be really important for that.
20 seconds now until reboots end, and we still have pretty much a single team inside the zone at the moment. Take a look, a lot of action going down here at night and going under some pressure right now. Phoenix is the one that's taking the bulk of the fire. It's Oatly and Spooks are going to be the last to rotate in as the zone starts to close, but Phoenix is in a world of trouble here. It's going to cost him everything, but Retro gets in just in time, actually.
Yeah.
So he does spawn in. He's going to have a chance to possibly reunite.
It's the worst time to go down, though. Literally the worst time to go down. If you're going to get rebooted, you want to do it earlier on. So it'll be interesting to see how Phoenix and Retro can sort of bounce back from this game after a really rocky start right there. We'll sort of see how that ended up going down. Wow, lovely little switch up from Yapko right there. Had that piece control, shotgun into Mammoth pistol. We've seen a lot of the good teams using Mammoth, so they're looking strong yet again.
Looking for Japco and Panzer's name. They are dead last at the moment.
अच्छा मछली भी है
Oh. They can continue to do that and earn some points.
Nice भाईजान, nice हो गया ये तो.
Goofy and Z-Dog had such a strong showing to kick things off. So I'm actually surprised
यहाँ पे रख दे ऊपर.
they're so low on the standings at the moment. But again, don't
रख दे टेबल पे.
that have had their moments of greatness.
Yeah.
They know they can do it.
छोड़ दे मैं कर लेता हूँ सेटअप बाकी. ते दूसरा पक्का तार देता हूँ.
Action here. Breed's gonna make the edit. Bugha's gonna make the toss. PH Zin, Ed already make their move. Bugha and Breeds are on the hunt. And then jumping over Golden at night, like a little update here. 5 eliminations,
wow.
Make it 6 now. It's on to, again, that Brazilian duo there. Oh, where the guy, when he rolled off, he might even get saved here. Goat's not gonna get his finish, I believe. Oh yeah, he does. Khan actually gets the full finish there.
Nice work from Golden Knight. Keep that confidence going, keep the vibes high. That's going to be the most important thing for them. Nicely pulled back zone here as well for Bugha, who actually stayed on top of that hill. You can see a few of those arrows in the bottom right. They decided to go down onto the sort of ground next to the river. They got quite lucky that the zone is going to pull sort of around the hill rather than back up it. So teams like Ruin Moda, Khan and Faded, the gamble paid off and they can live in relative peace down there whilst things transpire. Oh no!
I saw rockets going in from Khan and Faded. They're getting active. Then he's going to pull back up and over. Oh man, all these teams will have to begin committing to get back out of the crevice here. Meanwhile, Snide and Scroll, pressure coming in from the high ground duos for whatever reason. Coyote and Yuma have set on to what's happening here. Actually, they don't have to go up and over. They have that little bit of a pull that also kind of sneak their way on. It's like a battle happening down low, battle happening up top for supremacy here.
Keep playing very well. Braids and Bugha likewise. Looking to maintain that higher position. You see Gon and Knight from Furia in a good one as well. Braids and Volko trying to recover their day so far. Find themselves in second last, 19th on the standings. They're looking to try and take this game by storm and take it by force up here on high. Rockets coming down as well, causing absolute havoc. Trying to forge a path so that they can make their way in, make sure that that second high isn't going to look at them whilst Volko is sort of tarping ahead. Nice sort of fundamentals here from high ground. Deemish and Dom clearing out these low ground layers here as well. Virgo is the one that they take out. A little bit higher actually.
इनके पास highest point है सबसे.
Which is where these guys we know can operate very well, and the zone is just going to be so dangerous.
अच्छी लूट है, बहुत अच्छी लूट है. गेम में निकाल सकते हैं ये.
If it pulls back towards the south or the southwest, that's going to
Nice,
be so
बहुत
dangerous.
अच्छा rotate है.
Just trying to elevate as much as possible as a solo as well. Khan taking down Retro right now, only a knock for the time being. But Khan and Fader look to have enough to make here as well.
Khan and Fader are playing exceptionally well right now.
बड़ा अच्छा rotate.
They get Retro there just to get the finish on the way there. And I was happy we have to touch base with Shadow for a second because Shadow is solo at the moment in 6th place. Bugha and Brains are still alive on their heels here in this game. And remember, there's a 30-point difference between them. So jumping over them is going to take quite some effort. Same can be said for Sky and Scroll, who are also at just 108 points. But it's a fight for the high ground. No sip. Izzy go up to the top as Panzer
बहुत ज़्यादा ब्रेड्स
Really nice clutch here from Braze, getting all that siphon scroll as well. No stranger to a solo clutch in these current situations. But look at the way that the zone is pulling all the way back.
ओ भाई स्क्रॉल को भी मार दिया उसने
All these teams fighting it out, struggling as well whilst they do. And look at this, Sound all the way down on low. Braze is still in the game as well, keeping his team inside of that top 6. Huge moments right now, but look at the zone. It's so awkward. Can he make his way?
Nah, he did.
Braze is gonna fall. There's a second elimination of the game, and they maintain this position.
Nice यार nice GG's ब्रेड्स Great setup, bro.
EWC, make some noise! Oh my gosh, Izzy knows him. I cannot believe you guys just got a victory royale. How does it feel in those moments?
इनको सही हाइट मिल गई थी, बाद में नीचे आए नहीं, आना भी नहीं बनता था हाइट लेने के बाद ऊपर आते। यार किसी बंदे ने जिप लाइन नहीं ली यार वहाँ पे। Guys, finals है I guess same 6 बजे स्टार्ट होगा वो भी। थोड़ा अगर कोई नया बंदा है स्ट्रीम में तो make sure you can join my Discord server through link किया होगा डिस्क्रिप्शन में इंस्टा भी फॉलो कर लो फिशियल इंटरेक्टिव के नाम से है तो यार much appreciated and make sure you subscribe we are so close to hit 2000 subs.
Qu'est-ce que vous voulez leur dire à tous ces gens qui sont derrière vous et tout le WC qui vous encourage actuellement sur cette scène?
Franchement, merci à vous. Ça donne de la force et merci.
It's given us so much strength, so really thank you to all of you cheering for us. Can you just tell them right now, say make some noise for us, tell them right now.
Dis-leur, encourage-les et demande-leur de faire un peu plus de bruit encore.
Allez les gars, faites du bruit, faites du bruit, faites du bruit.
Thank you guys so much. Best of luck in the rest of your games, all right?
Bonne chance pour vos prochaines games, les gars. Une dernière fois, du bruit!
What you boy boy बेहतरीन भाई बेहतरीन Salvatore भाई strong I think so strong इसको बंद कर दो फिलहाल ऐड चल रही है
French crowd very happy.
हाँ फ्रेंच ओके तो होम ग्राउंड में खेल रहे हैं फिर जर्सी
I had to, man. Listen, the crowd was getting hype. I was getting hype. Izzy and Nosif, there they are, showing up for the French community, man. And they were so
बड़ी इन्होंने हाइप बनाई है यार मतलब है जो
to actually give me a jersey yesterday. They didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't ask for this today. I had this since yesterday. I gotta rep them.
Did you get a jersey?
No, I think they ran out of my size, mate. I think.
See, me too. Yeah, but no, I mean, Nosif is absolutely incredible. And you know, in day one, we also saw some great plays out of them. I believe they actually got the victory royale in game number 3. So to see them do that actually once again, that is what we want to see. We knew that they had it in them in game number 1 or day number 1, but unfortunately falling by the wayside. Just a little bit of rough games going down to 19th and 20th place. But today,
हाय गर्मी बड़ी यार गाइस क्या किया जाए गर्मी के लिए
in their own confidence that they're feeling so much better about the tournament.
गर्मी getting too much day by day
Of course, we've seen so many times this year between these two just how they've been able to face the adversity and overcome expectations. And
मैच
we already
रैंकिंग
saw it in Group A.
12 kills 15 kills 21 kills हो पे जो नाइस यार
This crowd can have on these French players, the backing that they get, the support that they get, it really seems to do something for them, and I think it's going to carry Izzy and Nosif through today.
You know what's funny, Lev, is that we are obviously
नाइस यार पर गेम्स हार्ड पॉइंट्स
venue here. We got a lot of
बहुत
games
ज़्यादा
going
यार
on, and sometimes when we hear the crowd cheer, we're not necessarily sure if it's this game or that game, if it's Fortnite.
15
Who are they
points,
cheering
kills,
for?
no
There was a couple
placement
times that game when we saw Izzy and Nosif up on the higher ground, and I heard the crowd cheer, and I was like, are they cheering for them? And then we showed them again on the higher ground, and the cheers happened at the exact same time. I was like, wait a minute, this can't be a coincidence. And
यार ये
sure enough, it was the
ब्रेड्स
crowd
ने अच्छा खेला यार बहुत अच्छा खेला ब्रेड्स ने
cheering for Nosif Izzy anytime they were doing well. But also, we gotta mention it, right? We kind of saw it on the leaderboard how well some of our other teams did in some of those elimination categories. Super impressive.
Not just that, and for EC and Nosif, we got to give them props too, because the first 2 games they ended up in 9th place, they ended up in 10th place. It's a great bounce back for that duo. And now
Oh, भाई नाइस शॉट
to be in the top 6 with only 7 games to go, and that's exactly what we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Those top 6 duos that are going to be going towards the finals. Now, we're talking about AGL earlier on, and we got the perfect response out of that duo with the win.
Yeah, I mean, what better way to turn in a conversation about how well Sky and Scroll are doing than to give us a victory royale?
अच्छा ब्रेक लेने गए थे
It's awesome that we are seeing them finally make it into the end game every single time. Before, there were some moments
जी रिफ्रेशमेंट लेने गए थे भैया
Same thing can be said for AJL. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing today. That's why I'm not getting too.
ओवरऑल रैंकिंग अच्छा जी ओ भाई क्या बात है सिल्वर टॉवर जीजीस ब्रो दूसरे नंबर पे साठ किल्स का 30 किल्स का फर्क है और उनके पास प्लेसमेंट पॉइंट्स बड़े अच्छे हैं हाँ सही है बुगा 6वें नंबर 7वें नंबर पे है 6वें पे आना चाहिए बुगे को हाँ वो 1 पॉइंट की वजह से ओ माय गॉड ना कोई नहीं ये गेम ऐसे मुश्किल होगी इनके लिए 10वें नंबर पे साद और मिशरी ये भी अरबी हैं 2 टीमें हुई हैं क्वालिफाई मिडल ईस्ट से एक लास्ट चांस से हुई हैं और आई थिंक सो एक जो हीट सीरीज जीती थी उसमें से क्वालिफाई हुई लास्ट चांस से तो ये हुई हैं मशरी और ये जो साद है साद ही होगा इसका जैसे सलाद जो भी ना रखा है 5 डाला है Q8 भी है ऐसी मशरी बानवे नंबर पे जी हो गया यार भैया आ गए प्लेयर्स Let's go, game start हो गई है match 4.
This survival stage, it is truly now or never. We're getting towards the 1/3 point of all of these games. We're over 10 games here today, going into match number 4 right now. Lots of expectations, lots of legacies on the line here as well. And we're going to see 14 of our teams exit the competition today. I think AGAL are going to be really happy with how Sky Scroll come out of the gates here.
Yes, so far, definitely really good. You know, that first game, a little bit of a damper maybe on our expectations of them, but surely they did what they had to do there towards the end, which, again, absolutely commendable, because now they are back in the competition. Looking at the overall teams here who have now officially broken the top.
Big opportunity है भाई EWC कसम से हर player के लिए.
Place and above, Shadow and Virgo being the most upsetting slip down, but hey, Josie and Izzy take 6 now, solid solidly after that last victory royale, so we'll see how they continue to perform. Well, here we have it, match number 4 is now on the way. Those first 3 came by faster than I expected, and it only gets more and more active here game after game. Get ready for that graphic, it's going to pop up quick.
Spooky तो गया.
It's going to be retro.
Oh, बाकी मर गए.
First elimination to kick things off here. And then you have Z-Dog, Knight, and others still in the mix. Here's Retro.
Nice.
Retro, okay. Let's see more of that. This is that group stage A Retro we saw in game number 2 that took that win.
Oh man, Joe.
Rolled up on though. Finish.
Honestly, a lot of this
Oh,
sort of all sport
oh भाई.
fighting is all about getting that shot.
क्या पिस्टल मारी है सल्वाटोर ने.
Who's going to get it? Braids able to pick one up in this position as well.
भाई नहीं रुक रहे अरबी नहीं रुक रहे अरबी डोमिनेट कर रहे हैं.
Well, Salvatore in the distance as well. Rue is there as well. Braids wants to get involved in this action, of course. Rue finding that first elim right there, his second of the game so far, and finding another one. Whoa, onto Braids. That was really nice. Actually.
Nice,
Sort of
yeah.
in reverse, waiting for Braids to drop on in, then hitting the shot while slow HP. Pretty impressive stuff there.
Gives you a glimpse of greatness there. We saw Bugha kind of backed off that fight too. It's like, oh yeah, you do your thing, Braids, should be alright. Maybe it was a small mistake if they wanted to earn those points. Either way, Sky and Scroll will end up pulling up here. They find Nosif on the other side of the map. Nice little start for them as they secure their first 3 points. Take a look at the highlight from Rue. 9 shield, 3 HP by the way. Salvatore dances
वो देख यार.
demolishes Braids. Like, what was that?
What's so funny about that is if Braids takes him out there, we'd be saying, why is he emoing? What are you doing? Take it seriously. Avoided that, as of course he was able to take down Braids as well. That's quite funny. I like it when players, I think that should be a ball.
What, emo?
Oh man, Joe.
Yeah, emo. Tell him what's up. You know?
Get rolled up on?
Yeah, I would.
A little bit of everything. Braids actually getting chased right now. He's going back to the POI here. Oh, he actually defends. Okay, I like that. He's playing defensively because Bugha's under attack here. That could have been very, very bad in fact. So he goes into hiding because Bugha gets caught out by Salvatore and Yasin. And that person that was chasing Braids doubles back into the POI. It was Rue and Yasin who
वो जा रहे हैं मारने.
showed Braids what time it was. So he wants nothing to do with that.
Salvatore. And Yassine looking to find another one right here. They've cleaned up this entire area. Really.
Aye.
There it is. There we go. Really takes his own medicine right there. Another email coming through. But Salvatore and Yassine, they've started the day really strongly here as well. This is probably the team that I had the most questions about in terms of they played well in the group. They didn't qualify through, but I felt like did just enough to still be considered as a top 6 team. I still wasn't quite sure, and they're coming out here really strong.
It's really interesting. It's like when they played well,
क्या
they
बात है
played
भाई.
so well. They were like, who is this duo?
Yeah.
And then when they fell short, I think it was just because they have been playing side by side, which is really interesting. They're not doing the whole like, hey, you hold this side, I'll take this side.
Yeah.
We'll kind of merge together and play endgame. No, they're playing together and dominating, and that's why we're kind of seeing that performance come through. It's a very unique take, I guess, on the game mode, right?
Yeah, and you don't, more often than not in Fortnite, you find a lot of success by not doing what the top teams are doing and what works best for you. it's very easy to get carried away when looking at some of those top teams and thinking, yeah, just do what they do. That's the only reason they find success. But you have to understand what type of team you are. And I think Salvatore and Yassine are a very good example of that, as Overly finds his first of the game. Spooks onto Cringe there as well. So it did look as though that Bugha was able to get rebooted. And a big performance needed here for Yapko Panzer, who again find themselves in the wrong end of the league.
Okay, well look, last game they were dead last. At least now they've gotten themselves a little bit of a lifeline here, earning some points finally, pushing themselves up and out of the complete bottom. Furia, Knight and Goat, already on the move here, 161 points. Things starting to shape up very well. Between first, second, and third, it's a pretty close race there at the top. Meanwhile, Sky and Stroh's going to fight their way up into that conversation. No Stroll at the moment as Sky's getting pushed in pretty aggressively here. This is a bad spot to be in. Stroll's got no shield. Sky goes down. Ooh.
Stroll needed a solo clutch right here just for a little bit, goes back inside of that storm, very weak as you mentioned as well. So this is the sort of situation that they found themselves in, where I was really surprised about in that group, where they just kept going down early on. And then in game 2, we saw them not doing that. We saw them taking out a lot of players, getting a lot of eliminations, setting themselves up really good for that post-7th zone gameplay. And they found a lot of success. So
number 1 पे आ गए
now 4 Sky and Score. You can see on the leaderboard, 5th place right now. Not by that much, so they do have to be very careful here. It's not done and dusted yet, and that's why some of the celebrations are quite muted, I guess you could say, particularly from the teams that are getting wins here.
Yeah, surely Bugha looking like he's wearing the scars of the battles. Not too much here on the material count overall, so he's got a bit to catch up. Love that little shot there from the crowd. Izzy's shirt with the signatures all around it. Yep, and he's got Izzy's, of course. He must be really happy about that. Have to have your favorite player's merch and your favorite player's signature along with his duo on it.
Yeah.
Must feel good.
That was
Oh, you
real
gotta
bad.
come to these.
Well, exactly. You get to meet the players, you get to meet lots of different impressive people in the scene. That was your bad side, I think, though, of your last week, 'cause I feel like I'm ruining it. You got your Izzy shirt with your Izzy signature. Not really my signature. Basin and his teammate Anon, Salvatore, taking down Bugha right here again. Rolling on right here, Salvatore and Yassine. That's their 7th of the game. And like you mentioned, they're doing it together. So they're finding so much success in almost being the anti-strategy than from a lot of our teams.
Yeah, they're kind of pushing the coast here for this dead side rotate to get all this extra, I guess you see, chest there and whatnot, and it's actually working really well. Bugha just committing to catch and break. He's already loaded back in. He's getting back with Braids, back over at the Peerless Spear. Meanwhile, Jeffcon Panzer had 4 eliminations now here at the hostile hold. This is pretty far north from the safety of the new zone. So we're getting late into the game here, but it's PH Sin who's on a defending shot. Oh, someone needs to siphon here. Both sides got to be quick. Japko's going to opt to shield. PH Sin also just getting, again, chunked alive here. Tries to run away. What can we find? Is there anything that can give him some White's HP? Lucky for him, there's a med kit.
Oh
And
no.
Japko end up getting with one another. He finds a med kit himself there.
Roti bad.
Spooks down and out of this game.
First duo.
Yeah.
Fall again.
Again, it's been a day to forget for them so far. Thankfully for them, it's only the halfway point. They are about 60 points away from that top 6 currently. It's weird. Lots more expectation on them today, I suppose. Going into their group, not much at all. Maybe that's having a part to play.
Well, they're not too far off. No, 60 points. They've definitely
चलो जी फट्टा शुरू
Consistency is important as well. Sky and Scroll, who do they upset? The Fortnite gods. They've had another zone ball, absolute max. They really want to make it difficult for the Bugha. Reboots are disabled right now, so Braids will not be back in this game for the rest of it. Bugha down to a solo Deepish and Dark. Haven't really been rocked all day. They've looked really solid. Looking a little bit weak on everything right now as well. Those white HP have to use those splashes. Medkits being invested here as well. They wait for that zone to start pulling around. Unfortunately for them, they do have Yakko and Panzer that are looking to hold them down, but Panzer does get taken out by God. Are they going to close in on this position? They are. Look at this aggression here from the Brazilian duo.
ठीक है थाली है चाय भले वो रोजे भाई नहीं रखा शायद यहाँ से ठा के
I could barely see him. I had my eyes on the monitor there, trying to look at where the player even was, let alone
A little shooting star.
managing to look like that. That was crazy.
Who's on height? Got Japan's Kawayota, Yuma. This is the game they need. This is the type of exciting play we need from this duo.
Yeah, they have that. I think they have that sort of confidence in themselves. They understand that they are a team that can perform on LAN. Haven't quite seen that level yet today, just find themselves outside of that top 10. But they're in contention, putting themselves in a good spot here as well. Deepish and Darma's managed to recover, and it's these mountainous zones that have been really difficult for those teams all the way down on low ground. That's why the position of Yuma and Coyote is of much importance. Gone and Knight also finding their second elimination, of course, just earlier on. And they're just looking to try and play a lot of these layers now down below. I think the zone will pull a little bit down as well, so as we saw earlier from Izzy and Nosif, the team that stay up, the team that think ahead, are going to be the ones that find the most success, but that's much easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. But look, they already have 2 elims. They have plenty of material here. They still have a lot to work with. There goes the split from Knight, or 2 Knight. Bugha is still alive right now. Like, there's still 19 duos up remaining. No material count. It was just a matter of time. And saw his reaction there. A look of pain just settles in. Scroll falls though. That's going to be pretty rough. Demis just catches him off guard there. Now it's all up to Sky. We've seen this before here. It's an important moment right now too, not to drop the ball here.
Not even in placement points yet. Gone a Knight. Got plenty of material count as well, so they can keep their wits about them in this mid-ground. We've seen plenty of solo clutches from Scroll this week, and Sky now do the same. More than capable. Done so incredibly well across the course of this duo's career as well. Loadout looking good, materials looking okay, which is exactly what you need for these solo clutch situations. Sky, you've got your team on your back, AGAL fans watching on, in order to get them to qualify on through right here. Just looking for an opportunity for a little pick. Looking towards the backside of zone. Has gone a Knight looking very healthy inside of this mid-ground. Huge moments for them because, of course, with Sky and Scroll down to just a solo, Gone and Knight have an opportunity to continue to push themselves forward. Scroll gets caught out in his box. There's another team spraying on through as well. Height's looking as well. Another team take him out. That was Dimash. So Dimash and Darm have taken out Sky and Scroll. You'd have to say their most immediate competition in terms of ability faded down as well as Gone gets his third to continue their propelling through the endgame.
I'm surprised too. All that was happening, so Toyota fall too. High throw not exactly working for them, so they're going to concede to giving it up. 7 missiles in the rocket launcher.
क्या कह रहा है? ओ भाई रख दिया ना छेड़े.
Rockets are coming out. He's recognized, hey, I gotta use this or it's gonna go to waste and into the hands of someone else. Meanwhile, JoJo, Abisheey, and EWC end up on high ground. This time, it's not in the last game of the evening, it's much earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, they're looking to start today as they finished yesterday. Dimash gets another elimination. That's their 6th of the game, using that RPG so well as well. The crowd are up to see Izzy finding one in the feed there as well. EWC and JoJo Fishy, no eliminations on them so far. They played this game very well, but you can see that reflected in their materials as well. Only 20 builds there on that team on high. Zone pulls back down towards the bottom as well, towards the POI. So for the teams on low ground, they're going to have to battle it on through. You can see Izzy and Nosif doing that right now, and Paris erupts. They get their 6th of the game. Low ground is theirs. They're continuing to plow on through. They're looking to keep that momentum going off the back of that win. Izzy and Nosif are here to play.
They have a feeling there's someone out there in the storm. It's actually Z-Dog, but look at this. Izzy plays a side angle, getting behind. Darman and Demis have dug a tunnel, and they're off. Just trying to play for placement points right now. Not sure how well that's going to end up working out. We'll see. EWC and JoJo surely have the most dominant position here and now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they split off in different directions, too. I don't think they even really knew what they wanted to do. Demish falls.
Domston in it. Domston leading off there in the backside of the storm. So he's got a medkit. He's doing okay. EWC now having to drop down. The materials are dwindling. Nosif down to a solo as well. 6 eliminations on these guys. Get stuck on such an awkward position right there as well, and does end up falling to JoJo Fishy, but a huge game for the French.
Yeah, Darman Demish also out. So this is a 2v2. Ruin Moda. For Ruin Moda, this is a defining moment for them. Can they fight their way into top 6? Here and now, or at least get closer to it, but no, they try to go for the heal off. It's not going to be enough. In the end, EWC and JoJo Fishy managed to win another game here at the LAN event. And again, the seriousness on their face because they lost out on potential points. So I'm thinking Rumoda just denied them, considering, hey, maybe we can't exactly turn this around. It's not looking too great. And just like that, at least they're back in the tournament though, Mini.
Yeah, I mean, remember, EWC, JoJo Fishy, they had a good game, a good finish to the day yesterday, but unfortunately today has been an absolute disaster for them. They haven't even got a single placement point heading into this game. 16th was their best performance, and that's why the reaction very much lulled and not too excitable, because unfortunately for them, they haven't been able to have much to celebrate about throughout this entire week so far. You can see the points that they're on. Rue, of course, had no heals, so couldn't survive in the storm for much longer. 5 eliminations on him, though, so we'll be more than happy with that. But JoJo Fishy, EWC, I think a lot of frustration you can sort of sense from those guys, because they know they're capable. They've picked up a win. They picked up a win in the group stage, arguably a harder lobby. They picked up a win here in the survival stage, but it's all the stuff before that. It's the position that they find themselves in where it doesn't mean as much as it could, as much as it should. If we had 3 good games at the beginning of the day, that win would have been cause for celebration, but with Sky and Scroll as well, Sky not able to solo clutch maybe as much as he would have wanted, so they're really keeping it interesting right here for the latter stage of this competition.
Yeah, most definitely. See Izzy, Nosif. Spirits are still up. Oatly and Spooks there. We caught a little glimpse of them for a moment. Definitely need a little bit more work.
Definitely, but game number 4 was absolutely fantastic. It was electric, but we've got more coming up.
Guys, joined here up in the stands, going to be supporting Sky and Scroll. I'm joined with their mothers here. Thank you guys very, very much for taking the time. Real quick, we got the game going on, so I just want to go ahead and see how they're feeling. Listen, watching Scroll throughout the day today, unfortunately yesterday, kind of knocked down to the stage today. How do you think they're feeling?
The boys are ready. They were, of course, disappointed yesterday, but they are always prepared and ready for a new day.
Okay, and Scroll's mom? Thank you very much. How is it been sitting up in the stands and watching Sky play on stage?
I think it's quite nice. I love to see them play, and support them all the time. So nice. Yeah.
Thank you. And listen, one more time, any words of encouragement for the guys? Hopefully they qualify through to tomorrow. And if they do, any words of encouragement for them?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Words of encouragement.
We just support them from here. We have all the support.
Perfect. And there it is, guys. Yes, very, very supportive, and that helps the players a lot.
Tap it. You play medkit. Take your go down there. I'm no match. I'm gonna drop down. Shit. Take all my gold. I'm dropping. Oh shit, that's not good. Oh, did we get a kill?
How'd they die?
I don't know.
4 games down in the survival stage and only 6 left to go. That being said, me and Taco here to kind of talk about what's happening so far, and I feel like we're seeing a little bit of a runaway towards the top of the leaderboard. Those first and second places up there towards the top. I feel like first we gotta talk about it. Salva and Yassine just playing so consistently today.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting dynamic, but I think that the switch really started to flip for them in yesterday's competition. Right around that game 4 or 5 period, we started to see Salva just get so incredibly aggressive, and honestly, he's been fragging out and carrying a lot of that into today's competition. If they keep it up at this rate, Middle East might just have their representative finals.
And I feel like that's got to be the conversation. I keep bringing it up personally, but Taco, these smaller regions, you are so used to going to LAN events where you're kind of watching these smaller regions perform in those finals. To kind of see so many already make it into the finals, and see some playing super well here today, it's got to be a lot for them.
Oh, obviously, and not only that, but also knowing that they're just one of the 2 teams still left over from the Middle East side of things, because we've seen what took place in the Group A stage and Group B. Unfortunately, there were some eliminations that costed things, but hey, they can still carry the torch.
Without a doubt, and now kind of like the opposite side of the conversation, right? A team that maybe necessarily expected to already be in those finals. I feel like everybody kind of supporting the EU region, expect them to do so well in their group stage. Gotta be Harmon Demons. That being said, they have picked it up immensely today.
Yeah, they have clearly been doing tons of bot reviewing, like they can give pretty big credit for Sven and just their work ethic. But I've been really impressed by the way that they come out super strong in the first half of today's competition. Hopefully they'll be able to carry over some of that into the secondary once we switch over to Slurp Rush.
And did you see that game, how they played that last game out, right? Kind of all the way down in the tunnel, just strictly playing for placement points. If they can play like that throughout the rest of the day, that's pretty much all they need. They have such a good placement towards the top of the leaderboard.
Right, and it's made it very clear that they have a great understanding of how to not only look for those strong elimination matches, I mean, cough, 18 from yesterday, but now if they can continue locking in on the consistency of replacement, they'll just remain right there at the top. They've already built up a nice cushion.
Yeah, would love to see Dharma Demons continue to do it. Would love to see Salva and Yassine continue to do well. One more team, who would you like to see start to do well here in the survival stage?
You know, this might be a little bit of bias, but I gotta see the Lion, dude. Bugha and Braids. I'm ready to see them start really picking up the pace here, and I know that all of these teams, though, 14 of them are going to be sent home. It's heartbreaking, but they're all putting in their best effort.
All right, you talked about it. Listen, the survival stage. Let's go ahead and jump into the halfway point. Game number 5. Our casters are ready.
That's right, this is it. I mean, we're hitting right into match 5, and then the players will have time to really evaluate
Let's go.
Situation and their stance in the tournament. Top 6 move on. The standings is all that matters. The other 14 will have their tournaments cut short and their keys crushed.
So जी number 1 पे आ गए हैं वो.
Those teams, there's plenty of them. Percentages-wise, you're more likely to be
35 नहीं 25 kills की lead है. Oh, 25 points की. My bad.
They do not want to be in that position whatsoever. For the teams on this second page, Edson, PH, Zin, Phoenix, Retro, Yapko, Panzer, Cringe, Volker all find themselves in the bottom half of this bottom half. They've already got to turn things up right now, and even though we're going to go to a new map after this game 5, we've seen how momentum can carry over different maps. We've seen how momentum from Peterbot and Poyo, remember they won. They never really saw until they won the last game.
threshold at 147. Their next jump up to get up and over Izzy and Nosif, they will have to best them by roughly
कौन याद कर रहा है?
quite a significant margin, a significant gap being kind of designed around 5th and above, and Sky and Scroll are just clinging on to 6th currently. We'll see what they can do. Can they get that big game? More desperation, I feel like, as the rounds go on and the players just go all out for the drop. This is how you want to do it, though. You can easily earn yourself a quick 20 points here.
Nice.
Braith's going to do just that, continuing to kind of solidify his way back into this conversation. Virgo's going to be one of the first to fall. Darm, Salvatore, and Tomant as well. Very, very nice job so far. Braith's with a 3rd elimination. Just like that, Coyote finishes him as well. And then it's between him and Goofy here. Japan versus OCE. Coyote has already gotten 2. Gets the 3rd.
Nice.
That is what we want to see from our friend Coyote here. Very nice team for the
Coyote, man. Coyote.
12 place right now going into this game.
Shad, boy.
6 points over that threshold. Sky and Scroll 147. That is a considerable amount. 51 points behind into that top 6 right now. So those few eliminations are going to be really, really vital for them just to keep them in contention, to keep the vibes high going into the latter half of the competition. No sit down in the feed right there as well. Coyote just praising how well they were doing. Unfortunately getting stuck in a bit of a sandwich right now. Unfortunately going out as well to Tomat and Mofu, who I think the strategy here is just to try and roll on through the rest of the solos that find themselves battling it out at the beginning.
Nearly had that too. Had both of them very, very weak for a second there. In the end, though, Tomat, Mofu will be the victors of the drop, the hot drop, if you will. Hostile Hole will probably be their next stop after they fully solidify their loadouts here. So, in any case, definitely appreciate it. Sky Scroll back on the hunt right now. 6th place as we see them again. 147 points. Tal jumping out to Jojo Fishy. The action is real. And down he goes. A quick and swift elimination.
Pretty good there from Sky and Scroll. This is what we were talking about earlier. We want to see more of this early game aggression. We want to see more of these eliminations because they are the best team in the lobby. On paper, they're the best team in the lobby. Why not prove it? Why not go into the early stage of these games together, fighting it? You can see their family there in the bottom of the screen. Some memes as well. Let's see more of this from Sky and Scroll. Let's see them put themselves in a winning position going into that 7th zone because that's
I feel like that's what we're seeing out of Human Coyote right now as well. This is a hero's effort from them to try to really confirm things here, right? Set a stamp on it at the Elite Stronghold. After this, we're going to retire this map. We're going to be moving on after the players get their kind of moment to recoup. Hari and Khaled. I mean, they've earned themselves some points. I feel like we haven't seen them once here on the show. Our focus has been so top-heavy, given the performances. Izzy's just getting farmed right now. Izzy at least did just spawn in. That could have been terrible for them. So, works out that at least Nosif, although he gets
Mishri or
Izzy
Saad.
did just spawn in. Otherwise, they would have been fully eliminated.
Abisheey as well. So they're a team that's inside that top 10 right now. Look at this though, Izzy. Awkward for Izzy.
क्या बात है?
Luckily Nosif is still alive, so they won't have to worry too much about that situation. But as I say that, Nosif goes up in the sky, flying high, but going down. Just
points करने पड़ेंगे इस गेम पे. Oh my god. Mythic fish चाहिए है इसने. क्या कह रहे हो? ठीक है ठीक है. Okay. ये गेम निकालनी चाहिए इनको. इस गेम में अगर लीडर बोर्ड पे आगे भी 5 गेम में पड़ी हैं अभी भी. तो टाइम का तो नहीं मसला, मैचेस का मसला. मैचेस ज़्यादा वेस्ट ना होने चाहिए इनके बुगा लोगों के लिए. मैं कुछ चाहता हूँ पर्सनली बुगा करे क्वालिफाई. सारे ही बेस्ट हैं भाई, क्या पता किसी को कि कौन क्वालिफाई करे ना करे। और ब्रो स्काई स्क्रॉल और बुगा को करना चाहिए ब्रो, प्लीज। स्ट्रीम चल रही है, बाकी कोई चीज़ नहीं चल रही यार। ऊपर ले जाऊं नीचे, तूने 2 खा ली हैं तो बस ठीक है, बाकी मैं खा लूंगा। बोर्ड में रख दे।
No wins for them so far today as well, so they're still looking for that first win. They want to prove to us that they can take wins in these sort of formats. Going to be really vital for tomorrow's finals. Scroll a bit wounded, down on low ground, no shield either. Sky looking to try and forge a path all the way through, goes through a lot of these old builds as well through this major POI. Diamond Demon's getting contested up on high. Khan and Faded are the team that are looking to take it. They've been playing high so much today, they're trying to make it their domain, but the materials are dwindling. Khan looking to try and ensure that they don't go down to 4 damage if they get chopped, using that Flowberry Fizz. Bugha and Braids now down as well, but Khan and Faded looking to have a little bit more success here on height than we've seen them
Big
today.
chance right now for Sky and Scroll. Those are some key eliminations. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th are down and out. So Sky and Scroll have a chance here to make a runway for themselves. That's going to be hard to catch up after this break. Coming up, hold on, give it a second. Khan and Fade is still going for it. 4 elims now, high ground is theirs, and they're closing in on Darman Dimish's lead too. Darman Dimish finally get themselves their first elimination here. That's on to Yasin. So no Salvatore in sight. Khan still pressuring from up top. Plenty to work with other than the material counts. They went with such a late high ground take, but it ends up working out.
No way, Salvatore कैसे मर गया? उनको नहीं मरना चाहिए था.
Teams on his heels is Night and Gone. Night falls first. Very nicely done. They're going to need the refresh here. Another edit from up top. And then only in Spooks. 7 elims. Trying to play for a win here. This could put them closer inside the top 10. I mean, we said it, Minnie. Just one game can all of a sudden put you in the conversation. Scrolls down. Sky still in. 6 elims here and Gone.
And Sky takes down Dimash right there as well. That's one of their immediate competition ahead of them. Spooks and Only, they're looking to put OCE on the map. And so is Z-Dog and Goofy. Spooks and Only the only duo alive right now, though, as Sky tries to make his way into that zone. Spooks and Only trying to prove why to the other day was not a fluke. And they take the game that lost along so quickly. The energy is there, the lights are high, they're going into slow.
Nice, yeah.
You can see the excitement on his face as he finally eases up and gets that land victory. He's got to come back down to earth. There he is. There he is. Okay, he's back. He's back.
He's like, yeah, hang on, no, we've got to stay cool here.
He's like, all right, wait. I'm still goatly. Still goatly. I got to get back.
Shit, totally.
It's good though. I mean, I think it's important for them to prove to everyone that yesterday the way that they performed was not a fluke. Going off the chain, the order. Oh, so cold. Holding it cold. Why not? Dimash and Dom though, what a performance for these guys.
That was a good one. Take a look at the highlights here from Oakley's perspective. I mean, they made it look easy. They had that nitro high ground. It was good. So your winner, Spooks and Oakley, Team Joko. That was quite the win. And again, a very, very important win. Way to get a dub as you go into this like kind of next session where you get to sit back, kind of reevaluate things, prepare for the slurp rush. Like this is the time to do it.
Yep.
Help kind of rejuvenate yourself,
GG's, yeah.
and then come back ready and push for a strong back half of the tournament. They did so well yesterday.
Yep.
Just makes you wonder, slightly better start. Maybe very far ahead right now.
Well, it changes the context of that half-time break. These guys have got a little bit of time right now to maybe look at those VODs, just take a break, take a breather, have a sip to drink. And I think it just changes the context entirely to the point where it's now going into that break feeling confident, feeling good, happy about how things are going. But for a team like Izzy and Nosif, that's the complete other side of things. They're a team that didn't end the game right there particularly well. And that now changes how they look at things. Even Sky and Scroll, they'll still be expecting so much more from themselves. And it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to develop throughout the second half of the day as well, because they're not done enough.
You know what? We also got to give shouts to Z-Dog and Goofy. I'm looking at the points.
Break आ गई, break.
Also, with that second place there, puts them just possibly ahead. Again, we'll wait for the official score confirmations ahead of Oakley and Spooks, though. So, which are now pressing on the heels of Izzy and Nosif, who had the biggest upset falling early there. So now it really does become anyone's race all the way down to roughly 13th place. Wow. All teams from 6th and 13th are now in contention for Izzy and Nosif's spot.
It's all getting really close here. You know, the latter half of competition is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Oh hell, अच्छा शुक्र.
Hotly contested. That top 6 is where your eyes got to be set on. That's the amount of teams. And for those finals tomorrow, you do not want your keys getting crushed, or else you will not get a spot in those finals. Remember, match points can be super important as well.
Team का message
All
है.
about how you can get wins, how you can perform on that stage under the pressure. And for the second half of today, the pressure is truly going to be on for our teams.
Yeah, you can see Shadow winners and banner there. What better than to hear from Barney with the voices themselves that won that game?
Spooks and Oatly managing to secure that ever so crucial victory royale before going into the second half of the day on the survival stage. Spooks, let's quickly chat. How vital were those points? What were the comms like going into the final moments of that map?
We were low on points going to that game. I just told Oatly, let's go for high, we'll win the game, and finish the first half off good.
Has that kind of boosted the confidence then going into the second half, managing to secure those points? It kind of lifts a bit of that pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Next half, we'll just qual.
I like it. Next half, speaking of that, it is of course Slurp Rush. Feeling a bit more confident on that map in particular, or is it just kind of more of the same?
It's more of the same. We're landing a new drop, but we should be good.
I love it. Short and sweet. Nice moving. I like this. Right, Jogo, of course, that's Spooks, that's Oatly. Smashing it here on the main stage on the Gadia City grid. But of course, we've got 5 more maps to go until we close out the survival stage. So hopefully you boys can do it. We'll see you guys in the latter half of the day. But for now, let's go back to you guys.
चीज़ हो गया भाई आई गैस ब्रेक आएगी अब आधे घंटे की तो वेट जो वेट करना है कर लो हम आते हैं वापस
And of course, the teams to keep an eye on for those of you at home are the bubble teams. Now those teams are from 6th
welcome
all the way
back.
through to 9th because the point spread is pretty tight.
Yeah, indeed. And when you see like, okay, they're only like they can actually make it. They have like one big loss right now, but I guess if you go really good games, you have one chance to just miss one like this. So hopefully they're gonna make it. And one insane other stuff is like the French crab.
The French crab, man. Just 5 maps remain and they will be on Slurp Rush. So we'll see which teams dominate on that map. But like you said, the French crowd has something to be said. So let's have a chat with them.
Yeah, it's time to hype them up. Mesdames et messieurs, vous êtes prêts? Quand je vais vous demander de faire du bruit, c'est toute la partie gauche qui va crier. Quand c'est Bardi qui va demander toute la partie droite. Ma partie à moi, faites du bruit!
Yo, there we go, guys. Game 6. Let's go.
Et maintenant, mesdames et messieurs, tous ensemble, faites du bruit!
Casters, over to you.
This is it. The break is over. And now we're here to the second half of the day where these last 5 games are going to be crucial. They're going to decide the future of 6 teams that will qualify to our match point finals tomorrow.
It is just so absurd, though, Jacob, to think about everything that we have witnessed up to this point and just knowing what types of stakes are involved. The pressure's got to be unfathomable.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a gap at the top of the leaderboard. Darm and Demish have a 36-point lead against the rest of the gap. Honestly, they don't even need to have any big pop-off moments anymore, but they need to have the points coming. As you continue to look down that leaderboard, though, this is where I start to get worried around 4th, 5th, and even 6th place. That's where it is a little bit closer. Khan and Faded, Sky and Scroll, Izzy and Nosip, because right on their heels, it's 2 teams, not just 1, 2 teams from OCE and Z-Dog, Goofy, Oatly, and Spooks, who just got that last victory royale.
But even if you factor in that that's where we think the bubble might be at, we've seen just how rapidly the conversation can shift once we've entered into the Slurp Rush section of the day. Elite Stronghold won't be a participant any longer. Retro Phoenix trying to get off, get a little bit of momentum, but it's Retro getting shut down. Just 1 HP about for Cringe, but Bugha and Cringe, so far so good. Still gotta get 10 with Spooks at the drop here, or Crumpet. A little bit more active than what Cringe would have hoped for, but Anon doing a decent job at fending Cringe off. Spooks from a separate angle. They've got a lot of pressure application already, but Cringe might be getting the assist from elsewhere.
I'm not even sure how he's alive, just slow motion dodging around like a movie cutscene. He was unable to get any of those eliminations, so Siphon and HP is going to stay low. But what I noticed here at Ford Crumpet aside from maybe 1 team, this is like a solo hot drop out of the gates, and Demish might be the last one standing here as he takes down Anon as well. There is still somebody else nearby. Demish might be Darm, not sure, but he definitely has cleared out the path. He got that first 2 eliminations for his team.
More so expecting this to kind of be a solo mission there out on the Bulls, but given how fantastic they played those first 5 games, they feel like the only team that is truly locked currently. They just got to make sure that they don't tut out in the other 5, obviously, you know, hopefully no caster jigs involved, but AGAL, Sky, Scroll, they've had all eyes on them since the very start, and it's only going to continue turning up the heat here with these 2, especially championship update for Glitter.
Yeah, and kind of taking a look back at yesterday for a moment, you know, they had such a struggle to get things going. They eventually did, but it was too little, too late when that moment came. This time around, it's a whole different story. Off to the races. Panzer and Yakko as well. They need some catching up to do here in the second half. But as you said, maybe some players, maybe some teams just prefer the Slurp Rush map. And that's why I was talking with Zeke. If it is one of your better maps, you just gotta hang on when it comes to Elite Stronghold, when it comes to the first half of the day. But this is where it all counts. They need a huge comeback if they're looking to continue their journey here at EWC.
Wouldn't be surprised to see teams just start tossing out the Hail Marys, because while 5 games might seem like a lot, and while we have seen some big point deficits cut pretty rapidly just based off of their performances, replicating them is just so tough at this level of competition here. And Shari, Khaled, a little bit caught out, but still, Jojo Fishy's the main one on the run, doing a decent job at escaping the bulk of it. But Mshari, with the cutoff, won't allow the opportunity to slip by. Jojo Fishy has been eliminated. He'll be sent packing. Dirty Ducks now left to the control of Mshari and Khaled for the time being.
Yeah, even though he did go down, though, at least he bought his teammate Aoxy more than enough time to get back into the game. Just hopefully he can touch down afterwards. We know how difficult that can be at times. Going back on over in the distance, Shadow, Virgo, Sky, and Stroll as well. Zone is starting to push them forward, but it is so early on in the game. They have all the time in the world. And you're kind of seeing what their strategy right now. Stroll taking a lot of those shockwaves, and it's going to be his teammate with launch pads.
But look at that update just off the leaderboard alone. I know that we just witnessed Braids getting a nice elimination, his third, but our second place team leading on the leaderboard. Yasin and Salva already early eliminated. Placement points won't be a factor. This is a big opportunity now for everybody else to try and catch up. But for Deemish and Darn, business as usual. Goopy and Z-Dog, they want to hold their own. They want to stand tall up against Poland. Shadow even starting to get a little bit involved here, and that's going to cause Deemish to come to a little bit of a pause here. You don't want to go with cool, reckless abandonment and get third party.
Yeah, especially since Virgo does have a teammate in Shadow that is going to be nearby. I think Z-Dog's teammate getting back into the game as well, so Slurpee looking a little bit crowded here in a moment. You see in the distance, Z-Dog getting tagged up. That was a freshly respawn player. Darm and Deemish go on the attack. They get one. Goofy's trying to stay alive. 12 seconds is the name of the game. Luckily for him, they get distracted by Shadow and Virgo, and that's something that happens here in Reload.